Hello and welcome to Carnage Candy. My name is Sean and I'm here to talk about Sinners. I just saw it the other day and I'm really excited to dive into this Southern fable musical vampire movie that's written and directed by Ryan Coogler. I first saw the trailer for this a while back when it was a little more ambiguous about what the movie was, and I was more excited for it then than when I saw the second trailer. When I saw the second trailer that revealed that it is a vampire movie, I was really disappointed. I thought that it kind of ruined the mystique, and the fact that they were able to cut one trailer without exposing the monsters or ghouls in the movie told me that it could have been completely marketed without vampires, kind of like From Dusk Till Dawn, and I mean they both take place in a club and feature vampires. And I was kind of mad. It made me not want to see the movie at all, and I almost didn't see it. But after going, I'm really, really glad I did, and I'm going to dive into a spoiler-free review here just to give you some little highlights and maybe some topics of what the movie explores. And then I'll give you a little score at the end. And I will tell you later on the channel, I am going to do a big kind of expose on the ending of Sinners and dive into kind of some interpretive stuff and how it really stuck with me and how I'm still thinking about it even days after seeing the movie. So getting started, Sinners is about two twins, Smoke and Stack, who are just coming back into their hometown in Mississippi after kind of working for Capone. They've been in Chicago for an indefinite amount of time, and they come back and they want to start a juke joint. They have a big sum of money, and this has kind of been their dream. And what it does is it effectively does what From Dusk Till Dawn was. Before we get to Smokestack, we first meet Sammy, plays by Miles Caton, who's spectacular. And he is, we immediately find out in the film that this has vampires in it, or some kind of fanged humanoid creature. Miles is a musician, and he is the son of the local preacher, and we immediately know that something happened to him over the course of the night. And then the movie, does a one day earlier. So this is where we meet Smokestack, and Smoke and Stack are gathering the town around this juke joint that they're going to establish. And just like From Dusk Till Dawn, we spend a good 30 to 40 minutes really just getting to know our characters. We know that Smoke is more reserved and diligent and definitely more prone to violence and authoritative. Stack is more laid back. Stack is maybe a little friendlier, a little more forgiving, and these traits will really come into play as the movie develops, which is really, really cool. Michael B. Jordan plays twin brothers. There's a couple of scenes that are almost self-parody. There is a scene where the two brothers hug, and it's doing reverse shots of them saying, I love you too. And it's kind of poking fun at the fact that Michael B. Jordan is playing two characters, and that's a lot of fun. So they're preparing this juke joint, this sawmill that they have bought from a white guy who they know is a Klan member. And they are kind of torn, and they eventually buy the place, and they're really suspicious of it, but they buy it, and we get some really cool scenes of them basically building our cast. They are physically moving around the movie, and they're talking to the person who's going to cook, and they go get Delroy Lindo, who's a blues musician, Delroy steals the show. He is so good. And then Sammy, our son of the preacher man, is their young cousin who is kind of in tow with them, and you can tell Sammy really looks up to them. We end up meeting Beatrice, who is Smoke's kind of former flame, and then we also meet, we meet Mary, Haley Steinfeld's character, who is Stack's kind of love interest. and we learn, their backstories and all that. But we also meet Grace and Bo, who are the shop owners, the local shop owners, and they really build the cast. And we get little moments with the cast as they're building, and eventually we get to the juke joint. They have really spent and invested time into the character building, and while I was watching it, I got like this really weird feeling that I hadn't had in a long time watching a movie. The only thing I could really compare it to was I felt like I was watching a big studio movie for the first time in a long time. It was kind of like watching The Mummy for the first time. It wasn't like swashbuckling, or it just felt like the production design cared so much about every nuance, and the fact that there was a lot of one takes and kind of showing the town and building chemistry between the characters. By the time we get into the juke joint and really dive into the music and Sammy playing and them hanging out, and just we start exploring the old sawmill as a character, I'm really like, man, this feels. I think I just felt like a kid watching it. I knew while watching it that if this was a VHS that was just on the shelf, with like Night of the Comet or People Under the Stairs or, Dracula, if this was one of those movies that I just stumbled on as a kid, it would be like a movie I loved a lot today. I think because of the character building, it's just really cool looking. And the soundtrack, of course, kicks ass because it's based on, R&B and blues. And as soon as we get to the villains and the building of events and action and horror, it also has like Irish metal in the soundtrack as well. And it breaks a lot of rules in its music and mythos and what's possible in the context of 1932 Mississippi as well, which is like a lot of fun. And I think just the way it made me feel was like those times when a filmmaker's like in control, because Coogler breaks rules and does some wacky stuff and fun stuff and sexy stuff and a lot of just like vulgar talking and stuff that's really a little unorthodox, but it's like he knows exactly what he's doing, and the cast and crew know exactly what they're doing. And even from a production standpoint, Sinners might be one of the best lit movies I've ever seen. You've got the night is really beautiful, and the yellow glow from the overhead lights of the juke joint where they do their musical numbers and action. Just every character has like a little bit of sweaty glycerin kind of on them, and it feels so lived in and awesome. But we obviously things are going to go south, and what the movie does is it kind of uses vampirism as a cultural gateway for white characters and black characters to interact with each other in a really a social commentary kind of way. And we have Mary, who's played by Haley Steinfeld, and we find out that her grandfather was black. And so we also have Asian characters in Bo and Grace. And so the juke joint has like no white people in it, right? And whenever we meet our vampires or villains, they're all white. And two of them were like kind of clan members. And that's as far as the spoilers that I'll really go with. So you can watch this spoiler free. I'm going to kind of talk themes and things that I liked in the movie. So don't worry. That's as far as I'm going. But the best part about the movie is that it uses the juke joint and its front door as this awesome dividing barrier where our white vampires and eventually black vampires are trying to gain entry into the juke joint, right? And of course, Smoke and Stack, like, they've created this space for themselves. And it was like, I was curious if it's like, there's kind of themes of maybe like black conservatism, like being like vampiric in nature, because the white characters try to use their music as like a common ground. And like the white vampires are like, we're all cut from the same cloth. We're the same people. And they're saying this to people that they obviously want to kill, right? And they're using these, this kind of common ground of, oh, we're all part of the same. We're all the same. Skin color doesn't matter to us. So let us in. They're trying to use, and they're like, we play music too, and they play like these kind of like Irish folky songs, and of course the Smoke and Stack on the inside are kind of like, maybe no, that's not really our style. And so these themes of like skin color and trying to use that common ground as a way for the vampires to get entry into the juke joint is probably like my kind of favorite part of the whole experience. And the vampire invitation, what is official? It's like, did you say they could come in? How do they infiltrate this space, right? How do the vampires manipulate characters to get into the juke joint so they can get what they want? Is kind of like the fulcrum of the movie. That's where most of the confrontation is happening, is conversations at this entryway. Like I said, I am going to dive more into this in a more in-depth kind of analytical video here on the channel in a little bit. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure and subscribe and like if you are into that. But the invitation is kind of the fulcrum, and they do a lot of interesting things in that kind of conversational space. I feel like that's like in most vampire movies, the invitation is kind of like, it's just like a dorky little quirk about vampires. It's like, did you say they could come in the front door? So to use that as like a major fulcrum for the movie was really, really neat. All the performances are spectacular, and I think the conversation happening around the movie right now is that word of mouth will really get people to go support this. This is a big, like, studio movie. It's got a big budget. It's got a ton of talent behind it. Music slamming, action's great. It's gorgeous to look at. Our villains are really cool, and some nice creepy moments. I would really say that this is a spectacular horror movie for you to go see with somebody who may not really be a big horror fan. We do have a Gateway to Horror video coming out in a few weeks as well. And it's kind of too bad I didn't see this before that, because this is a spectacular gateway to horror, because it's a character picture. And there's so much music and cool style and sexiness to it, to where this would be a really good movie for somebody who you would have to really talk into the theater to go see. And I think the saddest part about vampire movies is it never feels like there's a lot of new ways to do vampires. And I do think that might be the one thing that keeps the film from being perfect, is while the vampires are cool, there's not really a whole lot of new and interesting rule sets that make it a horror masterpiece. It really just rides just like, I would say that this is my favorite Coogler picture for sure. And I think Michael B. Jordan gets to flex his acting chops like crazy here. And then Jack O'Connell, who plays Remick, our villain, is like, he's not on screen a lot, but every time he is, he's like it's like, man, he's got great presence, right? I thought that Sinners was spectacular. I think you should go see it. I think you should go see it to support movies. Like real, non-comic book superhero movies. And I would say I'd give it like a 9. I think I'll watch it a lot. I think it'll be the kind of movie that I'll put it on in the background when I'm folding laundry. I think sometimes I'll sit down and I'll really watch it. I think because of the soundtrack and it's kind of mood. It's like really hip and like it'll be a good one to listen to as well as like really watch and focus on. So go see Sinners and stay tuned to the channel. I'm going to do an ending breakdown and kind of discuss more of the more themes that kind of itch to me a little bit. And I hope you enjoyed the video. You can go support this content on patreon.com/hangtime if you want to directly contribute to the channel. Make sure and share this with somebody who you're trying to talk into seeing Sinners. And if you want more content like this, make sure and subscribe. Leave a comment below about some of your favorite vampire movies that you want us to review on the channel. You have an awesome day. Bye-bye.